Well, I very much wanted to write a story about a kid that was of color. That was my first ambition, and I didn't want it to be about race. I just wanted her to have race, which has been my experience, right? I have many problems in life that are to do with race and many that are not. Race is always there, though. And so I wanted to write a story about a kid living her life, having problems. Race is there. And I also wanted to write about the connection between her and animals, or an animal, because that kind of connection has always been so much of a solace to me in my own life, and so much fun, so much pleasure. When I was a kid, I had a lot of pets. I was very lucky. Yeah, including hamster. Well, I was very shy as a kid, and I felt very different from everybody. But animals didn't scare me. You know, I wanted to connect to somebody, and animals were an easy somebody to connect with. Yeah, and so I was very lucky. I grew up in the countryside, so I had a donkey, a horse, a pony, geese, peacocks, a sheep, you know, every animal that a kid could want, I had. So in a way, I'm the opposite of Emi, and I wanted to really think, okay, what would it be like if you could not have that? We lived in Vancouver until last year. So, you know, my kids had to move from one home to another, and they had to start all over again at a new school. And that happened a few times. And it's not something that I could relate to, because I grew up with two parents, same property. They still live there now. So I wanted to sort of dive into their experience of what that must be like, of having everything change and having no power to make it any different. Yeah, like Emi has, all she can change is her attitude, right? I've always loved children's books. I've read a bazillion of them to my kids. And I, too, wondered, how does this process work, this mysterious collaboration? And I honestly have never met Stefan George. I have never spoken to him. I got no say in what he illustrated. And that's normal. That's normal in the children's book writing industry. And in fact, a lot of people get illustrations and don't like them. You know, they say, that's not how I imagine the character, or that's not how I see it. So I was very fortunate in having no relationship with Stefan, that I love his illustrations. And I actually knew of them beforehand. If I'd had a say, maybe I would have chosen him. But he illustrated a book called Suki's Kimono. And I can see the image in my mind. It's this Japanese-Canadian girl in a kimono, just looking radiantly happy, right? And so as soon as that came out, I read it and saw myself in it and loved those illustrations. So I feel very fortunate that that was the illustrator I ended up with. And I mean, Mini is so cute in Stefan's pictures. And he's created this wallpaper, or the graphic designer has created a wallpaper for the book, where there's just a lot of images of Mini in different positions. And I love it. Like, I would paper my house with that if I could. Yeah. I went into a recording studio at UVic. They allowed me to use one of their studios, and one of their sound recording guys, he was amazing. And I was surprised that you had to really put the volume up when you were recording the book. And I've always wondered why those stories told out loud for children sounded so unnatural. And that was my experience, was that I couldn't read it the way I would if a child were just sitting on my lap. I had to project, and even the whispers had to be loud, and the dismay had to be loud, even when it was being suppressed. So it was an odd experience. But I'm really grateful to have had it, because I've always wanted to try that.